energy stored in a capacitor. Now let me take a capacitor here. Capacitor is denoted with the two parallel lines of equal size, and this is connected to a battery here with the help of wires. So this is a battery. Generally what happens, the electrons from the battery negative terminal will travel through the wire, and they will be accumulated here. So this will get a negative charge. But due to induction, the negative charge on this plate B or second plate will induce a equal and opposite positive charge on plate A. So this is plate A. But we know that in induction process, a negative charge will induce a positive charge on the inner plate and a negative charge on the outer plate of this plate. But as this is connected to the wire, this negative charge will travel through this wire. Negative charge will travel through this wire and reaches this one. So within the battery, due to the chemical reaction, this negative charge electrons will gain energy, and the battery will do some work, and it will push the electrons into this circuit. So actually the flow of charge is anti-clockwise direction here, but scientists initially found that means they assumed that a positive charge is induced here due to this negative charge, and like this. So let us say dq charge is given by the battery, and it will accumulate on this plate, and the negative charge will be here and a positive charge like this. But whatever be, the process will be same. So we are giving dq charge to the plates which are maintained at a potential difference of V. V is not the potential, this is the potential difference between the two plates of the capacitor. So what is the work done by the battery, and what is the energy stored in this battery? First of all, let me find out the work done to send these charges onto the plate. This work done will be stored as energy. So first let me find out the work done. W is equal V into dq, where V is the potential difference between the two plates and dq is the amount of that is given to the plates. Now dw is equal, we know that C is equal to Q by V, or V is equal to Q by C dq. Now if you want to find out the total work done, let us say the initial charge on this capacitor is 0 and the charge increased to Q. So to induce or to give that Q charge to this capacitor, what is the work done? So now I am going to write, integrate on both sides. This work done is equal to integral 0 to Q. So I am increasing the charge from 0 to Q. For this, what is the work done? So this is Q power 1 dq by C. So as the capacitance of the capacitor is constant, bring it outside. Integral of Q power 1 dq from limits 0 to Q. Now you can write W is equal to 1 by C. This is Q square by 2 by integration. Q power 1 is equal to 1 plus 1 by 1 plus 1, which is Q square by 2 with 0 to Q. So W is equal to 1 by C. This is Q square by 2. So the work done is given by Q square by 2C. This is the work done. We know that work done to give this charge will be stored as energy between the two plates in the form of electric field. Why? Because this is positive charge, this is negative charge. A field will be induced between these two plates. So energy is stored in the form of electric field. Remember this point. Energy is stored in the capacitor in the form of electric field between the two plates. Now this is the work done and also equal to the energy stored. U is equal to Q square by 2C, or you can write Q is equal to CV. So this will become C square V square by 2C cancel, half CV square. This can also be written as C is equal to Q by V. So half into Q by V into V square, V cancel, half QV. So we have different formulas now to find out the work energy stored in a capacitor, which is given by q square by 2c, which is also equal to half cv square, which is equal to half qv. Here, by using this energy stored in a capacitor, what is the energy density of the capacitor? Here, what is this energy density? Generally, mass density is equal to mass by volume. Energy density means energy by volume. So, this is nothing but energy stored per unit volume. So, the energy density is with ED or UD, you can write UD, energy density is equal to U by volume. What is energy? You can take Q square by 2C, half CV square, or half Q, whatever it may be. So, I am going to take here half CV square by, what is the volume of the capacitor? Capacitor consists of two plates. What is the volume between the two plates? Area into distance will give the volume. So, this is area into distance. So, energy density is going to be half into epsilon naught A by D into V square by AD. Here you can cancel A and A. This will become half epsilon naught V square by D square. But we know that in a capacitor, electric field is uniform. So, what is the relation between electric field and potential? This is the potential difference between two plates by distance between the two plates. So, in place of E, you can write V by D. You can see here, this is V square by D square. So, energy density of a capacitor is going by half epsilon naught E square. So, where E is the electric field strength between the two plates and is constant. So, energy density directly proportional to the square of the electric field, as half and epsilon naught are constants. Capacitor has positive charge here, and this plate has negative charge. We know that according to the fundamental property of charges, opposite charges always attract with each other. That means there exists a force of attraction between these two plates. So, how to find the force of attraction? Force of attraction between two plates of a capacitor. So, to find out this one, first of all, let me use this diagram. So, here I am going to write this positive plate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this is negative plate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is the electric field at any point here? Electric field between the two plates is the field due to positive plate as well as negative plate. So, already while deriving the equation for parallel plate capacitor, we used this one. The net electric field is electric field due to positive plate plus electric field due to negative plate. So, this can be written as, this is sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught. So, 2 sigma 2 epsilon naught or sigma by epsilon naught. This is the net electric field. But what is electric field? Only due to one of the plate. So, electric field, let me take this plate as X and this plate as Y. Electric field due to first plate is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught. Now, this field will attract this charge. What is the force here due to this field? Because positive charge, it is acting like this. So, the force is given by electric field due to plate X into the charge there. This is minus Q, but I am taking only the magnitude here. Now, F is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught into Q. So, this is the force between this plate and this charge, or the charge on this one. That is the force between two plates. We can write this as F is equal to, sigma is the charge per unit area. So, the charge on the positive plate is Q, area A, into 2 epsilon naught into Q. This is Q square by 2 epsilon naught A. Now, multiply this with A and A, what we are going to get? The force between two plates can also be written as Q square by this A into A square into A by 2 epsilon naught. What is Q by A? Q by A is, once again, this is sigma. So, I am going to write this as sigma square A by 2 epsilon naught. So, F can be written as half into sigma square into epsilon naught into A. You can write, multiply this with sigma naught and sigma naught also. You can write half into sigma square by epsilon naught square. sigma by epsilon naught whole square into A into epsilon naught. You can write what is sigma by epsilon naught, that is the net electric field between the two plates. So this can be written as half into epsilon naught into E square into A. These are the different formulas to find the force between two plates. The first one being F is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon into Q. Second one is sigma square A by 2 epsilon naught, or half into epsilon naught E square into A. You can see half into epsilon naught E square is equal to energy density. So what is the force between two plates of a capacitor? The force between two plates of a capacitor is given by energy density. This is the energy density, half epsilon naught E square is force between two plates is equal to energy density into area of any one plate. So this is the expression to find out the force of attraction between two plates of a parallel plate capacitor. Done. To increase the separation between two plates from D1 to D2 very slowly, here very slowly. Why? Because if you take the first plate here, if it's the second plate, I am moving it very slowly. That means the change in velocity of the second plate is almost negligible. So we should not consider the kinetic energy. You can see my second hand is moving, but you can see this is almost seems to be stationary, but it is moving very slowly. So if you want to increase the distance between the two plates from D1 to D2, what is the work done by the external force or external source here? So I am finding this work done to increase separation between the two plates from D1 to D2. So I am taking this first plate, which is positively charged here, and this is the second plate, which is negatively charged. Let the separation between these two plates, let me take it as x here. So in this case, what is the force of attraction between these two? The force of attraction between the two plates, force of attraction between the two plates is given by, this is F is equal to half epsilon naught E square into A. What is E here? Electric field between the two plates. Let the potential between the two plates in this case is V, potential difference, and distance is x. So this force can be written as half epsilon naught potential by distance whole square into x. The force is given by half epsilon naught V square by x square, equation 1. So this is the force with which these two plates are attracted with each other. Now I want to increase the separation between these two by doing some work here. So if I want to move this one slowly, how much minimum force is required? Let us say these two are attracted with 20 newtons force. I need to apply minimum 20, or actually maximum more than 20, but minimum 20 I can move it without any change in the velocity, almost negligible velocity. So that's why very slowly I am writing here. Now what is the work done to increase the separation by a small distance? So let us say this is the new position and this is dx. So what is the small amount of work done? Small amount of work done in increasing the separation by dx. So I am going to write dw is equal to f into dx. So dw is equal to f is equal to half epsilon naught v square a by x square into dx. This is dw. Now if I want to find out the total work done to increase the separation from d1 to d2, so the total work done is given by integral dw, which is equal to integral half epsilon naught v square a by x square into dx with the limits d1 and d2. Initial distance is d1, final distance is d2. Now you can bring the constants outside. Half epsilon naught a v square integral dx by x square from limits d1 to d2. Now, the total work done is given by W is equal to, you can write half epsilon naught a v square common integral dx by x square is equal to minus 1 by x. So this is minus 1 by x with the limits d1 to d2. Here it is given by half epsilon naught a v square minus 1 by upper limit d2 minus of minus plus. This will become 1 by d1 minus 1 by d2. This is the total work done to increase the separation from d1 to d2. So what is the total work done? This is the work done W, which is given by, this is half epsilon naught a by d1 into half epsilon naught a by d1 into v square minus half epsilon naught a by d2 into v square. This is nothing but the capacitance of this capacitor initially. So this is half C1 V square minus half C2 V square. So this will be the initial potential energy. This is initial potential energy or energy stored in the capacitor minus final potential energy of the system. So work done by externally is equal to change in potential energy. Generally we will write change in potential energy means final minus initial, but here I got initial potential energy minus final potential energy. So minus of change in potential energy. Here if the battery is disconnected, then this will not maintain the same potential. So the charge will be constant here. As the battery is disconnected, already it is charged with some charge Q. Now what is the work done by the external force? Same derivation. So force of attraction between the two plates will be of epsilon naught E square A. Here battery disconnected now. Previously battery is connected. Now battery is disconnected. Then Q is constant. So here I cannot write V. Why? Because as the distance increases, potential increases here. That's why V is not constant. But I can write this as E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. This is the constant electric field, and the sigma can be written as sigma is equal to Q by A. So I can write this as, in place of this I can write half epsilon naught sigma square by epsilon naught square into A. Now this is the equation 1. So small amount of work done increase the separation by dx is equal to, here F is constant, force is constant. Why? Because you can see half is constant, epsilon constant, sigma can be written as Q by A, or you can write this as F is equal to half into epsilon naught constant. So you will get only one epsilon naught here, 1 by 2 epsilon naught. Sigma is equal to Q by A. So sigma square means Q square by A square into A. This A and get cancelled. This will become Q square by 2 epsilon naught A. This is F. Here in this, we know that whenever battery is disconnected, just like if you take your mobile phone, if you charge it for some time and if you disconnect it from the socket, it will have the same amount of charge. Their Q is constant, charge is constant. If you are not using it for a long time, if you keep it in sleeping mode, charge remains as it is. So whenever battery is disconnected, charge remains constant. Q is equal to constant if you are not doing any work. Here Q constant, 2 constant, epsilon constant, area of the plate constant. So F is constant. So F is equal to constant. Force between the two plates is constant when the battery is disconnected. Now you can write dW equal to F into dx. But if force is constant, derivation is not required. Previously force is variable. So when the force is constant, what you can write? Work done is equal to force into distance. So W is equal to F into, the final distance is D2, the initial distance is D1. Because I am increasing from D1 to D2, final to initial. This is the separation between these two. So work done by external force when the battery is disconnected is given by F is equal to Q square by 2 epsilon naught A. This is D2 minus D1. So W external is given by Q square by 2 epsilon naught A D2 minus q square by 2 epsilon naught a d1. You can see this one, this d2 can be written here also d2, and d1 can also be written here d1. So this is epsilon naught a by d1, epsilon naught a by d2. This is final capacitance. So here work done by external force can be written as q square by 2c2, 2c2. This is q square by 2c1. We know that in this q is constant. So this is final capacitance after separation. This is initial capacitance before separation. So work done by external force is gone by. This is the final PE, final energy stored in the capacitor minus initial energy stored in this capacitor. So what is the work done by external force? This is the delta U. Remember, if battery is connected, work done by external force is equal to minus du. If battery is disconnected, work done by external force is equal to plus du. Here this is plus du. Suppose if you take a capacitor of capacitance C, so this is a capacitor of capacitance C. Let me take this as a C naught, and air is the dielectric medium between the two plates. Area of each plate is A, and the distance between two plates is equal to D, and the potential difference is V here, or let me take V naught here, C naught and A, what AD same. Now if I want to insert a dielectric medium between the two plates without any battery, already it is charged with the help of a battery, now battery is disconnected. So if a dielectric is placed between two plates, to insert dielectric between the two plates, here I am writing without battery, already it is charged, means battery disconnected. So in this case what happens? Without battery, we know that initially it is charged with the battery, now the battery is disconnected. So here what is constant? The charge is constant, that we have to remember. The charge on the battery remains constant. Now before inserting the dielectric, so before inserting the dielectric, this is after inserting the dielectric. So I am going to draw the diagram here. This is the capacitor, these are the two plates, and the potential difference between these two is V naught, and the charge on this one is plus Q, charge on this one is minus Q, and the area A, distance between these two is D. So what is the charge? So the initial charge on this plate, let us say Q, potential difference VI is equal to V, electric field between the two plates, E initial is equal to E, or you can write V naught, this is E naught. Now the energy stored in this one, Ui is equal, which formula we have to use? We have different formulas for energy stored. We have half CV square, Q square by 2C, half QV. Which one we have to use? We have to use only that formula where the quantities are constants here. Now here you can take a CV, here potential, by inserting dielectric potential may change, but the charge is constant here. So let me take this Q square by 2C. So I am going to write this as energy stored, I am going to use Q square by 2C as Q is constant, because potential is varying here. So this is Q square by 2C. So where C is C naught, and the capacitance C is equal to, here I can write capacitance C also, capacitance C naught is equal to epsilon naught A by D. So these are the 5 points that you have to remember. Now, after inserting the dielectric between the two plates without the battery, please remember this one. Here I am not connecting a battery, already it is charged. Now what happens to this one? The charge on the two plates never changes. Why? Because there is no source to give the charge to this one, but the space between these two is completely filled with a dielectric medium of constant K. So what happens to the charge here? The final charge QF is equal to Q only. Why? Because charge remains constant after inserting the dielectric medium also. What happens to the potential difference here? Final potential difference is equal, we know that C is equal to epsilon naught A by D is equal to Q by V. So from this, if you rearrange this one, V is equal to QD by epsilon naught A. This is the initial value. V naught is equal to, this is equal to QD by epsilon naught A. After inserting the dielectric, this Q remains as Q. Distance between the two plates is D only, it is not changing. But epsilon naught will become epsilon, or in terms of K, this will become K epsilon naught into A. So what happens to the potential difference between the two plates? By inserting dielectric medium K, the potential decreases by K times. So please remember this one, very very important for competitive exams. Whenever a dielectric is inserted between the two plates, the potential difference between the two plates decreases by K times. So what happens to the electric field? The electric field between the two plates, final electric field is equal to, we know that E is equal to V by D. As V decreases by K times, E also decreases by K times. So you can write directly E naught by K, since E is equal to V by D or V is equal to ED. Next, what is energy stored here? Energy stored in this case after inserting the dielectric, energy stored, U final is given by, once again we need to use the same formula, half CV square cannot be used here, Q square by 2C as Q is constant. So this Q square remains as Q square by, let me use this one, this is Q square by 2. What is the capacitance? So here let me write the capacitance here. Capacitance, new capacitance, C is equal to, this is epsilon naught A by D. By inserting dielectric, this will become K epsilon naught A by D. So this will be epsilon naught A, K epsilon naught A by D. So this is Q square by, energy stored U initial by K. This is Q square by 2 C naught. This is Q square by 2 K C naught. This is C naught only. So energy decreases by K times. So very very important topic. Now, if a battery connected with so whenever it is charged to a potential and a battery is connected here, by inserting dielectric, what happens? By inserting dielectric, potential decreases, but the battery will provide the same potential there. So whenever battery is connected, the potential is constant. So it will maintain the same potential difference between the two plates. Whenever it is whenever the dielectric is inserted here, the potential between these two will decrease. Whenever potential decreases, we know that C is equal to Q by V. When potential decreases, we can increase the capacitor will increase, we can give some more charge. So that's why by giving the charge, it will maintain the same potential. So in this also, I am going to write 2 points here. What happens to this before inserting and after inserting. So this is Q charge, Q initial is equal to Q naught. Potential difference V initial is equal to V naught. Electric field E initial is equal to E naught. And capacitance C initial is equal to C naught. And energy stored E initial is equal to, which formula we are going to use here? As V is constant, we can write half CV square. So this is half CV square, this is U. Now, this is before inserting dielectric, now after inserting dielectric, here what happens? Now here battery is not disconnected, battery is connected here without this one. Here battery is connected here, but no dielectric, but here dielectric is placed between the two plates. So what happens to the charge? As the potential is constant, to maintain by inserting dielectric, we know that potential decreases, capacity increases, and the battery will supply more charge. So the new charge will be Q, and which is equal to K times of Q. It can give KQ naught. So the new charge on this capacitor will be K times the initial charge, and the new potential V final is equal V naught only, because potential remains constant. That's why Q is equal to CV, the new or final charge is equal to the new capacitance C is equal to K epsilon naught A by D into new potential V. So this will become epsilon naught A by D into V. This is nothing but Q final is equal to K times the K initial or K naught, Q naught. Now what happens to electric field? As the potential remains constant, electric field will also not change. And what happens to the capacitance finally? So it increases by K times. In both cases, here also capacity increases by K times, here also capacity increases by K times, but here energy decreases by K times, but here we will see what happens to the energy. The final energy is equal to half C V square, but new capacitance is equal to Kc. Potential remains constant when the battery is connected. So this is K times of the final initial energy. So here energy decreased by K times, here energy increased by K times. What is the work done to insert the dielectric here? Let us say the energy stored in this case is 20 joules. Energy increases by K times, let us say 30 joules. So what is the K value? Very simple, how to find the K value? The final energy is 30 joules. Final energy is equal to K times the initial energy when the battery is connected. The final energy stored in this one is 30 joules. K into the initial energy in this case is 20 joules. So K is equal to 1.5. The dielectric constant of the medium that is inserted between the two plates is equal to 1.5 in this case. Now, what is the work done to insert this dielectric here? To find out the work done, same thing. What is energy here? 20 joules. What is energy here? 30 joules. Here, previously the capacitor has 20 joules of energy. Now, by inserting dielectric medium, energy increased to 30 joules. So, what is the work done to insert the dielectric? Means the difference between these two energies. So, work done to insert the dielectric. Work done to insert the dielectric is given by W is equal to this 30 minus 20, that is 10 joules of work is required to insert this dielectric between the two plates. In first PUC, we have applied law of conservation of energy in case of a freely falling body, in case of a vertically thrown body. For a pendulum also we used this one, and also we apply law of conservation of energy in case of a fluid, and we call it as Bernoulli's theorem. Now how to apply law of conservation of energy in case of a capacitor? Now if you take a capacitor, this is a capacitor and it is connected to a battery. Here battery will do some work to charge this capacitor, that is we call it as work done by the battery, and we have one more work done by the external force. These are the work done. Now whenever a battery do some work, what happens? The charge on the capacitor increases. Charge on capacitor increases. Now, what is the effect of this external force? As we discussed earlier, to increase the distance between two plates or to decrease the distance between two plates, battery will not do that work. We will do some work by mechanical force. So this is the work done by us, either to increase or decrease the separation between the plates. So this is work done by battery, work done by this one. But conservation of energy states that whatever the work that is done by us will be stored as energy. That is also work energy theorem. So it states that work done by the battery plus work done by the external agent or force is equal to, due to these two, what happens? The charge increases. Whenever charge increases, field between the two plates increases. Whenever field increases, that is nothing but energy stored in the battery will increase. So these are the two works, that is equal to the energy stored in the battery, change in energy in the capacitor, and the heat produced in this system, where H is the heat producer. So this is the expression that we can use here. Now let me use one simple problem here. Let us say this is a capacitor C, and it is a battery of potential V, and it is connected, positive connect plate is connected to a plate A and B. So this will get positive charge and this will get a negative charge. Now same capacitor connected to the same battery but with reverse polarity. So in the second diagram, what I am going to write, this is the same capacitor that we used previously, and we are using the same battery here, but polarity is reversed here. So this is V, this is positive terminal, like this. So here, as it is positive terminal, this plate will get positive charge, this way will get, this is minus Q plus Q. Previously the charge on this one is minus Q, this is plus Q. Now in this, what is the work done by battery, what is external force, work done by external force, what is change in energy, and what is the heat produced in this one. Whenever the battery is reversed, whenever the polarity of the battery is reversed, the polarity of a cell or battery is reversed, so then what happens to the other points here? So first let me check what is the work done by the battery here, whether the charge is increased or not, because whatever the work is done by the battery, it is used to increase the charge. Here you can see the charge on plate B previously minus Q, now charge on plate B is plus Q. So what is the change in charge? Change in charge on plate B. This is the final charge minus the initial charge. The final charge is Q, the initial charge was minus Q, so 2Q. That means the battery has given 2Q excess charge to the plate B. So it was minus Q previously, now this is plus Q, means what is the amount of charge that is flown from the battery to the plate B. So this is the excess charge when the polarity is changed. So what is the work done by the battery? Work done by the battery is equal to, work done is equal to potential into charge. The potential difference between these two has never changed. Previous it was V, this is also now V only, into the charge to Q. This is the charge flown. So this charge is flown because of the work done by the battery. So this will become 2QV, 2Q is equal to CV into V, 2CV square. This is the work done by the battery. What is the work done by the external force here? This is 0. Whenever we do some work externally, either it increases or decreases the separation between the plates. But here I am not changing the separation. The previous separation between these two plates D, now also it is D. So external work is 0. Work done by external force will be 0. So what is the change in energy? So initially when this system is connected to this one, the energy stored in the first case is equal to half into capacity C potential V square. So what is the energy stored in this case? U2 is equal to half remains as half. Capacity has not changed here because it will depends upon the area and distance. Area and distance is not changed, and the potential difference is also not changed, and this will be V square. So there is no change in energy stored. So the change in energy is equal the final energy stored minus initial energy stored, that is half CV square minus half CV square, which is equal to 0. So this is the energy change in energy. Then the next one is heat produced in this case. How to find heat produced? Now we have this formula, work done by battery plus work done by external agent is equal to change in energy plus heat produced. Now let me substitute. What is the work done by the battery? 2 CV square. So I am going to write here work done by the battery plus work done by the external force is equal to change in the energy and the heat produced here. This is 2 CV square, work done external force is 0. This is change in energy stored in the capacitor, both cases is 0 plus H. So from this we can write H is equal to 2 CV square. This is the heat lost in the wires while changing the polarity of the battery, and energy loss. Now let me take one capacitor of capacitance is C1 and charge to a potential V1, and one more capacitor of capacity C2 and charge to a potential V2. Now let us say these two batteries are disconnected and these two capacitors are connected like this. So this is C1 and this is C2. Here what happens, if V1 is greater than V2, if V1 greater than V2, so this is at high potential, this is at low potential. So charge flows from high potential to low potential. Now we know that the charge on this capacitor initially Q1 is equal to C1 V1, this is Q2 is equal to C2 V2. So what is the total charge on this system before connection? So before connection the total charge, initial charge is equal to Q1 plus Q2. So what is the final charge on the system? Q1 dash plus Q2 dash, because charges will flow from high potential to low potential. Some charge will flow from high potential capacitor to low potential capacitor. That means charge will be redistributed in the system. So from this what we can write, the Q initial is equal to Q final, but Q is equal to C1 V1. So what is the new total charge before connection? This is C1 V1 plus C2 V2. So what is the charge on the first capacitor after connection? This will become capacitance remains same, potential will be V plus C2V. Remember, this distribution of charge or flow of charge takes place, flow of charge stops when V1 dash is equal to V2 dash, that is common potential. So let me take the common potential as V and V. So we can write C1 V1 plus C2 V2 is equal to V common C1 plus C2. The common potential that acquired after redistribution of charge is given by C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2. So this is called common potential. Now, what is energy stored in this case, energy stored in the second case, and what is energy stored after connection in the system? So here what I am going to write, the initial energy stored in the first capacitor U1I initial is equal to half C1 V1 square. U2I initial is equal to half C2 V2 square. So what is the total energy of the system before connection? This is energy before connection is given by half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square. This is the energy before connection. What is the energy after connection? So I am going to write this as energy in the first capacitor finally is equal to half C1 V square. Energy of the second capacitor finally is given by half C2 V square. So what is the total energy after connection? This is after connection, which is given by half V square common C1 plus C2. This is the total energy before connection. This is the total energy after connection. So it is found that before connection energy was more, after connection energy was less. Why? Because during this connection some energy will flow through this one, some energy will be lost here. So what is the amount of energy lost in this case? The amount of energy lost in this case is given by energy loss energy lost in the form of heat is given by delta U is equal initial energy is more than the final energy. So I am going to write initial energy of the system before connection minus final energy of the system after connection. So what is the initial total energy before connection? This is half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square. This is the total energy before connection minus total energy after connection is half C1 plus C2 into V square. So this is the formula, but you can see we know the common potential here after connection, which is given by C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2. So I am going to write this as half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square minus half into C1 plus C2 into the common potential is equal to C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2 whole square. Now after simplification you can write this is C1 plus C2 whole square, one get cancelled, and if you enlarge this one, expand this one, you will get after expansion you will get half C1 V1 square plus half C2 V2 square minus half into C1 plus C2 C1 square V1 square plus C2 square V2 square plus 2 C1 C2 V1 V2 by C1 plus C2 whole square. This and this get cancelled. So by simplification this one, because half C1 V1 square half C2 V2 square, this is half C1 square V1 square C2 square V2 square plus 2 C1 C2 V1 V2 by C1 plus C2. If you this one, if you simplify, you will get half into product of the two capacitors by sum of the two capacitors into V2 minus V1 whole square. If V1 is greater than V2, you can write V1 minus V2 whole square. So this is the loss of energy. If you want, you can simplify this one and finally you will get this one. So this is V1 minus V2 whole square. Suppose if second capacitor is uncharged, let us say this V2 is 0. So what is the energy loss? Energy loss is equal to half into C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 into V1 square, because V2 is 0. So this is also in the form of half into capacitance, effective capacitance into square of the velocity half CV square. Now in this we can connect positive plates together. Positive plate of the first capacitor and positive plate second capacitor connected together. So this is the expression. Now if the polarity of the second capacitor is reversed, that means instead of positive, let us say this is a negative plate here, this is positive plate, then what happens here? Then the formulas will slightly changes here with reverse polarity. The common potential will become C1 V1 minus C2 V2 by the C1 plus C2. This is the common potential. Now the change in energy or loss of energy is given by half C1 C2 by C1 plus C2 into V1 plus V2 whole square. This is only for the reverse polarity. That means positive plate of the first capacitor connected to the negative plate of the second capacitor, then we need to use these two formulas. If the positive plate connected to positive plate connected to positive, then energy loss is this one, and common potential is C1 V1 plus C2 V2 by C1 plus C2.